All right, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to another video today. Today we're going to get into a variety of topics, but this first one, we're going to talk about this Tesla Model Y inventory. There is a bunch of them, and why you should probably want to take delivery of one of these, switch to one of them, take one of these EDD, use one of the EDD hacks that we talk about so you can take delivery and lock in a $7,500 federal tax credit where you can file for your taxes using software like TurboTax and all these other. It's huge savings if you want to take delivery, if you want to take the advantage of it. We're going to talk about that plus another bunch of financing topics and other Tesla buying topics, other Tesla news. But before we get into any of that, let's roll that intro real quick. All right, so thanks for watching another video. Thanks for watching another stream. My name is Dennis, and here we talk about how to get the best deal on a Tesla with the best financing rate. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description, where you can get access to my buying guide, which has the list of all the best credit unions and banks that are all better than Tesla financing. So definitely hit that Patreon link or the YouTube join link down below in the description if you're interested. And shout out to my latest Patreon members. We've got Ron, Raj, Kevin, all of you. Thanks for joining the Patreon. Thanks for supporting and also scheduling those calls where you can ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. So let us get into this. So the Tesla website, Tesla Model Y, no changes so far. It's basically pretty much the same. The federal tax credit seems to be going on till the end of this month. I even had a call with a Tesla advisor today because, they did I'm in the system, right? So they wanted to try and sell me a vehicle. They wanted to get me to place an order. And I asked them, is there any change so far with the federal tax credit on their end from what they're hearing? And no change at the moment. So really, if you want to take advantage of this federal tax credit, this $7,500 federal tax credit, this is what you need to do. You need to try one of the EDD hacks that we have on the channel, and you need to go to waitingfortesla.com and try and pick one of these vehicles that are all eligible in inventory and ready to go, ready for sale, because it seems like Tesla has dumped a bunch of Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive standard range vehicles. So these have a lower range than the long range, but there is a ton of them, and it seems like there's a lot of them that are similar build, right? Right here, white, black interior, Gemini rims, but a low price, or the lowest price of $51,990. You can see first page, there's a good amount of them, and you can keep going. I mean, there's a handful of them with different colors, gray, blue interior, and the price goes steadily up as you start to pick eligible for some of these. But a lot of these are out there. A lot of them looks like were just built within like a similar time frame, March 20th to March 21st. So this is it. If you want to try and take advantage, you want to take advantage of this $7,500 federal tax credit, then I would recommend picking one of these vehicles, securing them, locking them down. It seems like you can see right here, there's a good amount of them also in the Fremont area, and I would say lock it down with the $250 deposit. Really the only differences here for one of these are the 279-mile range. Of course, this is a little bit different than a long range, or I guess a lot of bit different, but 330-mile range versus a 279-mile range. So I would not recommend a Model Y all-wheel drive standard range version if you do any sort of road trips, and or if you have a commute that's 50 to 100 miles a day. I would definitely not try and recommend one of these. But if you've got a commute that's 30 miles, 40 miles one way or round trip, then I would say this would be a vehicle that you could save a little bit. You could save the $2,000 to $3,000 difference from the other Model Y long ranges, and you would be able to secure this $70,500 tax credit, because who knows? I mean, it could change. We could see a lot of differences in the next coming months with the $7,500 tax rate maybe going down to zero, or most likely it may be even staying at $7,500 or even going to $3,750. We really have no updates or no details at the moment, and checking over to the IRS website, really kind of the same. We've got the clean air Vehicle Inflation Reduction Act, really no changes here. This seems like vehicles are still the same exact list here. So if you take a look for the Tesla Model Y, yep, still up to $80,000 as an MSRP, but really no changes or no announcement or update from the IRS or the Treasury. And if you're kind of confused on what type of announcement or update they could do, really what happens is, because the $7,500 federal tax credit is broken into two parts. There's one part for $3,750 for the critical battery minerals and where they're sourced, and the other part is for the battery components. It's also another $3,750. And so speculation is that the Tesla Model Y could get the full $7,500 federal tax credit, or it could drop down to $3,750 depending on where the vehicle is manufactured or the battery critical minerals could be sourced from. So if you're, if you don't want to gamble on that, if you need a vehicle and you want to take advantage of the $7,500 federal tax credit, and you do qualify as you as an individual or a married couple, like if you're under $300,000 or under $150,000, then I would say try and switch to one of these. Try and ask your local Tesla center to see if they can switch you to one of these vehicles. And or if you're on the fence, like if you don't have an order in the queue, maybe it might be worth it to try and take advantage of one of these. Lock it down with a $250 deposit. You can easily do that by going to waitingfortesla.com. This is just a third-party aggregator site. Shout out to Waiting for Tesla and TJ and the team. You can even sort it down to like California, for instance. Sort it down to where you're at, and then just go ahead and click down, find a vehicle that you're interested in, and then hit reserve and lock it down with a $250 deposit. Super simple. Like, it links you down directly to the Tesla website. And so it might be worth it. If you're a little antsy about this tax credit, if you're a little bit antsy about trying to secure a vehicle, if you need a vehicle ASAP, it might be worth going down to one of these. But unless you drive a ton, if you drive more than 50 or 100 miles a day, then I would say it's probably not worth it to get one of these, but maybe try and switch to a long range. But of course, long ranges are a little bit harder to get depending on your area. Seems like there's, discounts here and there. Like this one doesn't seem like this is actually a pretty slick deal. I'm surprised it has not sold yet. Black with black interior, 20-inch induction rims, a 5-seat interior. I mean, you're basically getting induction rims for almost free because it's got only 950 miles on it and almost a $1,600 discount. But you can see there's a handful of long ranges that are in inventory, but most of them are 7-seater inventory. So I know you probably don't need or want that, but I mean there is Model Y long range inventory that's actually out there, but most of them 7-seater and a handful of them with an actual discount. I would say if you're trying to get a long range with the induction rims or the 7-seater, but you don't need the 7-seaters, I would just say at this point, just bump up to a performance. Here's one with the discount, $1,000 discount in Utah, but there's probably a good amount, there is a lot of Model Y performances that are out there, actually even 60 of them. So at this point, I would say, like, if you're on the fence still, if you haven't taken delivery of a long range and you need a vehicle, I would just say try and ask your Tesla rep to switch to a Model Y performance at this point, because if you're going to do an EDD hack and switch to induction rims for that extra $2,000, you might as well just do another $2,000 and get the Uber turbines with a performance trim and try and lock down a vehicle to take advantage of the $7,500 federal tax credit and much, much more. Like if you're in California, you get the extra $2,000 CVRP rebate and you lock down on a vehicle in inventory. So this might actually be worth it. I mean, depending on who you ask and what you're looking for. And I mean, the other thing to look at, like the Model Y performance, even at its current price of, what is it? The starting price of $58,990. Like it was a little bit lower not too long ago because Tesla increased the price $2,000, but still, even at 56, 57, even 58, it's still a pretty low price. Like if you look historically, this is the column for the Model Y performance. It's never really been as low as what it's been right now. So it's still like a decent deal, I would say at this point, even at 58, 59 $1,000. So, just some food for thought there. You're still paying the lower price than what it's ever been, in the past. I mean, of course, it was just a little bit lower not too long ago, but still, even 58, 59 is still a pretty good price at the end of the day. But let me know your thoughts there. Please hit that like button if you've got a Model Y order in the chat, or even if you got a Tesla Model 3 order in the chat. I feel like that's most of the viewers and people out there, that's what you're waiting for, that's what you're looking for, because it seems to make sense. Like a lot of Model Y owners are waiting out there to take deliveries. So let me know if that strategy is good for you, if you want to switch to a performance or even switch to induction rims to try and take delivery and lock in a $7,500 federal tax credit. We're going to jump into our next topic, and of course we will address and talk to all of you out there and answer all your questions in the live stream in the chat. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down in the description is the Patreon link where you can support the channel, and there's a variety of benefits, but some of them include actually scheduling a call with me where you can ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. And after you join the Patreon, you actually get a link to my buying guide, which has links to all the resources I use to get the best possible deal at the best possible price. Include credit unions and banks on that list that all have interest rates lower than Tesla financing even after today. So definitely check it out if you're interested.